Hi, welcome back to the podcast. This is Hayley with Weight Loss Without Dieting. It's so good to be here, as always, with you. So, if you don't know, if you're new to the podcast, my name's Hayley. I'm a nutritionist and a brain training weight loss coach, and I focus on helping women lose 30 pounds in 90 days without dieting by eliminating emotional eating. So I really focus on that emotional eating piece, and I do not really focus so much on here's the list of foods that you can and can't have, or this is how many calories you can and can't have. So that's what this podcast, this show is all about, is really diving into all of the mindset pieces and work that go into living a life free from thinking about food all of the time, obsessing about food, obsessing about your weight. You can just decide what you want to weigh, work on your mindset around that, get to that weight, and live there and not have to think about food, not to have this negative relationship with food or any sort of really tense or tension relationship with food and eating. It can just be relaxed and free and peaceful, and it's amazing. And if you're thinking right now that I sound like a crazy person and that's not possible, I used to be in your shoes. I used to think that too. And now I'm here living at my ideal weight without any negative relationship with food. It's just free and easy. I just had a baby. I wore a bikini like 8 weeks later. I felt awesome. I'm still in a bikini. It's amazing. Like, you can have this really wonderful, easy relationship with food and your body and your weight. So if you want to come work with me, I will put my link in the show notes. You can go check that out. My website is basically at meals.com, but I will leave the link for you as well. Okay, so today we're talking about hangry. Do you know about hangry? Have you experienced hangry? I think most of us have heard this. It's like this new term for, I actually Googled it just to make sure that I had it 100% correct. But this new term for when you feel agitated or irritable or angry due to hunger. And so, firstly, I kind of want to address, like, is this a real thing? I think that we have this idea that it is very real and intangible. And of course, I'm angry because I am hungry. But so let's go into the science of this. So, is there a scientific reason where you would like get angry because you're hungry? So, I want to give you this example. I was talking to my dad the other day. He's very lean, does not have a lot of fat on his body, and very active. And he was telling me how the other day he got up at 6, had some breakfast, and he went and worked out for an hour and a half. And then he played 3 hours of tennis. He thought it was only going to be an hour and a half of tennis. By the way, it's summer here. I'm in Missouri. It's hot. And he was playing outside. He thought it was going to be an hour and a half of tennis. Turns out to be 3. And he said by the end of it, he was not only hungry, he was really depleted. Like, he'd been working out for like 5 hours at that point. He didn't bring any snacks, he had nothing. And he just was describing kind of to me very neutrally, like, this is how I felt. I couldn't focus, and I was just had kind of distracting hunger pains. My stomach was growling, and I was just kind of depleted. Like, I just felt very low energy. And at no point in there did he say, I was angry. I was so mad that I was hungry. And that's real, true hunger. Like, he really experienced his body kind of probably hitting very low glucose stores and was really truly hungry and had no anger associated with that hunger. Now, I'm going to tell you another story. This is actually my one of my hunger stories. So, this just happened too, by the way. Like the person who has really evolved through a lot of this, I had this like big and this event kind of inspired this podcast. I was like, I need to do a podcast on this. So, me and my husband, we last weekend, it was our anniversary, so we got our bikes, we rented an Airbnb down by the Katy Trail, and we biked through wine country with our baby in a little chariot. It was so fun, it was amazing, we had a great time. And there's all these wineries along the Katy Trail that you can stop at, and we had this idea. We didn't pack any food. We're like, they're all gonna have like meal, full menus. They really didn't. So we biked to the first one. I don't even think we ate breakfast. I think we were like, we'll find something on the way. So we get to the first one. They're like, we don't really have a menu, and it was still early. It was like 11 or something, and we're like, okay, that's okay. We had like some cheese and crackers. We biked to the next one. Like, we don't really have any food either. I'm like, okay, it's fine. Pretty soon it's like 5 p.m. We have been out biking all day. We were really hungry, and we know there's a restaurant right by our Airbnb, but now we have like a 10-12 mile bike back to our Airbnb, and this restaurant, the kitchen closes at 8 o'clock. So we race back to this restaurant by our Airbnb. We're like dirty and sweaty and hungry. We have not eaten all day. And we get there, and I run in, and they were like packed. There was like no server at our table. So I just go up to the bar and I'm like, order some food. And I order a lot of food. I'm like, we are hungry. Like, she's like, it might take an hour for it to come out. I'm like, that's okay. I just want to get this order in before the kitchen closes. Like, she's like, okay, yeah, got it. So, we've got the baby, like the Airbnb is right next door. We're kind of like, she's getting tired. We're kind of like back and forth trying to console her. I think I went and put her down, and it's like, now it's like 8:30 and the food still hasn't come. So I go back to the bar and I'm like, hey, I'm just checking on our food. And she's like, oh, the kitchen staff left. Like, the kitchen's closed. And there is nothing, let me tell you, like, there is nothing else around this. There's nothing. This is the only place to eat. There's not even a gas station that's close. Like, the closest gas station was like a 20-minute drive. And we were both like, we don't want snacks. Like, we want real, like, a meal. I got mad, you guys. Like, I got so mad. I wasn't mean to her at all, but I was like throwing a tantrum about this. Full on mental breakdown about this. And kind of like when I looked back on it the next day, I was like, oh, that was all mindset. Like, the hunger level that I felt, I would have been fine. I wasn't comfortable, but really the hanger came from what I was thinking. I was just pissed off that all these places we went to didn't have food. We biked all day, and then we like rushed back to get to this place before they closed, and then they took our order and like didn't make our food. Like, I was mad about that. Like, I was just mad about that. I was mad that I was hungry and I didn't get what I wanted. Essentially, I feel like you boil it all down. I had hunger and I didn't get what I wanted. And that's really where it all came from. And so I was like, that was all mindset. That had nothing to do with me being hungry. If I had quieted down my brain and really just focused on, okay, this is the hunger that I'm experiencing, and everything else is mind drama, I would have been totally fine. So just to let you know, I ended up like I kind of stormed out of the restaurant and went to the Airbnb. We had a small bag of like cheddar popcorn, and I was just sitting there resentfully, like angrily eating this popcorn like piece by piece, just thinking about how it wasn't what I wanted. And my husband was very nice and kind. He was like, I'm gonna go talk to them. So he went back. Now at this point it's like 9 o'clock at night. And he was like, this is the situation. And the manager went in the kitchen and like scrounged us up some like cold pulled pork or something. So we did get fed. All was well. Everything got resolved. But at once I had my food, I was like, okay, Hayley, you're just being so ridiculous. Like that had nothing to do with hunger. That all had to do with mind drama. So really, hangry is not coming from true physical hunger need. It is coming from your mindset around your hunger and all of the thoughts that you're having around your hunger. So let me tell you another story that very much was me like monitoring it intentionally and not just letting it go like I did last weekend. So this was actually last summer. I was pregnant and I had worked a long day, and me and my husband were going to the baseball game with some family friends who had invited us. And it was kind of one of those things where like I had maybe an early lunch and I thought we were getting dinner before the baseball game, but then plans changed and like the timing was different. So now we're just going to eat at the stadium. And then we had to park super far away and walk to the stadium. And then we couldn't find our seats. And then there was like no good places to eat around our seats. I literally remember we did a full lap of the stadium. So let's say like I ate lunch at like 11 and I thought we were going to be eating at like 4, like dinner at 4. Now it's like 7 o'clock and I still haven't eaten it. And I'm pregnant and I'm hungry and I'm tired. And I just remember so intentionally keeping myself in a place of like calm and confidence, and it's all gonna be okay. Like, yes, I am hungry, I am uncomfortable, I'm hot, I'm sweaty, I'm tired, I'm hungry. But I'm not gonna let my mind just carry me away into like the injustice of the fact that we didn't eat at 4 and we didn't eat what I wanted to eat. And now we're late. And now it's like, 3 more hours have gone by and I'm all the things. And I so intentionally, and we literally took a lap around the stadium. I don't think my husband realized like how hungry I was. He's just slowly like plodding along, like, what about this place? I'm like, that looks good. And he's like, I don't want to eat there. It was one of those where you're like, yes, that sounds great. And then he's like, yeah, I don't want it. I don't want that. Let's keep looking. And pretty soon we are a complete lap around the stadium, and he still hasn't decided on a place. And I'm like, can we freaking pick a place already? But I just kept bringing myself back to like, okay, it's gonna be okay. Yes, I'm hungry. Is this gonna kill me? No. Is this like dire need hunger? No. I'm just uncomfortable. I just have a lot of thoughts that want to come up right now and tell me that this isn't okay and this is so bad and this is so wrong. And none of those are really what I want for this moment. I could choose all of them, but really, I don't want to ruin my night out with my husband watching the baseball. Like, this is supposed to be fun. And that's what I want out of this. So I just, what was continually letting all of those thoughts come up, watching them, listening to them, and allowing them to like be there and kind of move on. And intentionally saying, I want to enjoy this evening. I want to focus on things other than my hunger and how I'm feeling physically and having a nice night. And that's what I want out of this experience. And so that was really an intentional look. And that's kind of what I'm going to talk to you about. Like, how do you do that for yourself. But first, because I brought it up, like the intentionality of like, what do I want out of this night? I do want to talk about how is hangry, like if you are experiencing hangry, how is that impacting your life or affecting your life? What is the result of you continuously feeling hangry? So I want to kind of break this down for you, like where this is coming from. So the situation, the facts of what's going on is that you're feeling physical hunger. And then your brain is offering up thoughts about that physical hunger, such as, I can't stand this. I can't stand to feel this way. I don't want to feel this way. And when I say feel, I mean physical um, hunger. I don't want to feel this physical hunger or this physical pang in my stomach, whatever that feels like for you. I need to eat now. I want to eat now. This is not comfortable. I need to get out of this. This needs to change. And I would encourage you yourself to get out a piece of paper and write this down for yourself. Because whatever I'm saying might not be exactly what your brain tells you when you feel physical hunger. So discover that for yourself. It is actually important to know what your brain tells you when you experience physical hunger, because when you know, then you can more easily hear it when it starts to play out. You want to be able to interrupt those thoughts, to hear them as they start to, as your brain starts to produce them, and to say, okay, there, I heard it. I knew that that was coming. I don't have to attach to that. I don't have to go down that path. I can acknowledge it here and intentionally choose something else. So it is really important to know. And every time we have a thought, those thoughts create a feeling, an emotion for us in our bodies. And this isn't just for emotional people. This is universal. We all have emotions that happen in our body. You just might be kind of disconnected from feeling them or not really know what they feel like in your body. But every thought creates a physiological response in your body called an emotion. And so thoughts like, I can't stand this, might make you feel angry or anxious or irritable. I want to eat now. I need to eat now. That might make you feel angry or irritable or anxious, any of those. But you figure out what that is for yourself, and you can always guess. It's okay. But the importance of that is, again, that you know what it is. So when it comes up for you, you can say, oh, there it is. I'm recognizing that. I understand what's happening. And you're not completely caught off guard. So from every emotion that we feel, we take action. So when you feel angry or anxious or irritable, or insert your emotion, you might not make rational food decisions. You might eat way more than you're hungry for. You might eat really fast. You might not listen to your body, like how eating fast is feeling for you, how that food in particular is feeling for you, how much food your body is really asking for. You might also be rude to other people. My example where I was rude to the staff at the restaurant. You might be rude to other people. You might be rude to your family members. Your family members might say, like, I don't want to be around you when you're hungry because you're just not a pleasant person. So that's going to have its own consequence in your life and have its own result in your life. But if you kind of add all of those up, generally feeling hangry is going to create actions that are going to cause the scale to go up. So it's going to cause you to weigh more than you want to weigh. And additionally, I kind of like to point out, like, that's the obvious one that we can see. But the unobvious result of feeling hangry is really truly not learning how to have a relationship with your hunger, have a positive relationship with your hunger. Your relationship with your hunger is that you get angry and you overeat, or you eat more indulgent foods, or you just eat without paying attention. And you truly never get to this place where you have a really positive relationship with hunger. That is the real result that we want to change, because once we get to this place where it's like hunger is okay and I'm okay with having it and I can feel it and not get angry or freak out and be scared, then it's like you can experience hunger. You can start allowing your body to tap into fat stores for fuel, and you can really see that scale go down consistently over time in a way that feels really easy and relaxed. You're not freaking out every time you're hungry. You're not getting angry every time you're hungry and biting everybody's heads off and then overeating. You're just like, this is okay. I can handle this. This is okay. I'm going to be okay. I can handle this. So that's what we're really going for. That's the result that we're really going for. So here's how you can work on that for yourself on your own. So first and foremost, expect it. If it's something that you've experienced in the past or you're experiencing consistently, or this is a good one that I didn't even put in my notes, but if you're avoiding hunger, avoiding feeling the physical sensation of hunger because you don't want to be irritable, but mostly what most people tell me is they're avoiding it because I don't want to overeat on the other side. You're experiencing some sort of like irritability or anxiety due to that physical sensation. You're avoiding hunger because you don't want to overeat, and you're overeating because you're feeling anxious or irritable or something because of that physical sensation of hunger. So know that that is what's happening for you. You might also, I'm going to throw this in, you might also be scared to feel physical hunger. I hear that one as well. What could possibly happen? Like, something's going to go wrong if I feel physical hunger. I'm going to pass out. I'm going to like not be able to function mentally. So think about that too. That might be on that list. Like, you might have some fear around that, or you might have anxiety about or worry that you're going to overeat if you feel physical hunger. So you're completely preventing yourself from feeling it at all by eating all of the time, which is more than your body wants. If you don't weigh what you want, then it's more than your body wants and needs for fuel. And you really need to start leaning into like, I'm going to allow this amount of physical hunger so that my body can tap into fat stores, and then I'm going to eat. So planning that out, measuring that out for yourself, and what that's going to look like, putting an intentional thought behind that. So first and foremost, if you experience hangry, expect it. Like, know that it's going to happen. I think a lot of times once we're like aware that, yes, I experience hangry, we think that we're never going to experience it again. Yes, I overeat on the couch every night. So now that I've recognized that, I'm not going to do it tonight. And it doesn't work like that. Just because we know it exists doesn't mean we have power over it suddenly. Same with hangry. So expect it. Yes, every time I feel any level of physical hunger, I get really irritable. And this is what I tell myself when I feel that physical hunger. I tell myself, I have to eat right now. I'm going to be super mad if I don't eat right now. I need to eat immediately. Give me that food right now. This is awful. It's the worst thing ever. I hate feeling this way. Like, whatever it is for you. Know that that is what your brain's going to start saying as soon as you feel that physical pang of hunger. So you're expecting it. When we expect it, when we plan for it, when we write down all of the thoughts that our brain is going to offer up at that time, all of a sudden, when it does happen, we're not caught off guard. We're not completely absorbed into those thoughts. we are like, oh, dang, look at me. I'm prepared. Ooh, I've got this. Like, it's okay. There it is. There's that thought. I knew that was coming. You are now in that situation with confidence, with a level of calm, with a level of preparation, feeling prepared. It's like walking into an exam knowing you studied the crap out of that material and walking in being like, oh, I didn't even know we were having a test today. I want you to walk into that situation like, I've got this. I know it's coming. I know all the things that are coming. I'm 100% prepared. Yes, I might still feel angry and irritable. That's okay, because I took this first step and I felt really prepared and I knew that it was going to happen and I'm okay. So that's step number 1. Step number 2, make a plan. How am I going to handle it when it happens? Who do I want to be? When my brain starts freaking out and being like, eat all the things, who do I want to be? I do not want to be the Hayley who's at the bar pissed off because the kitchen closed without making her order. I felt really bad about that. Which they said actually the next day, they were like, you were really nice. You weren't mad. You weren't mean. I was like, okay, good. I just felt like in my brain, I was so mad. So I felt like I expressed that to them, but I guess I didn't. But you don't want to be that version of you who then goes and like overeats popcorn or overeats whatever, all of the things. You want to be the version of you who's at the stadium enjoying your time with your husband, even though you're hungry. And you're like, this is okay. I'm going to be okay. I'm going to enjoy this night. I'm going to have a good time. And the hunger is going to be here and all these thoughts are going to be here, but that's okay. That's who you want to be. So you want to think about like, how am I going to show up? When all of these thoughts bombard me, how am I going to handle them? With calm and confidence and calm? Or am I going to be like, oh, this is the worst? Like, that's what we don't want to do. And then when it's there, when those thoughts are bombarding you, because I have a lot of practice with this, so it's really easy for me at this point. But when you're new and you're so practiced at those thoughts coming up and you immediately go into anger or irritability, and then you immediately start putting food in your mouth, like that process is super, that little machine is well oiled. You've done it a million times. It might feel really hard to break that cycle. Like you have no control of in that situation. You have the thought, you have the emotion, you take the action, and then like the scale's up the next day and you don't even know what happened. So as soon as you start hearing those thoughts, we want to just start interrupting this process as much as possible, as often as possible. We're not always going to have a perfect outcome. We're not just going to like hear a thought and be like, it's fine, I'm fine, I don't want to eat the food, and then we're down 10 pounds the next day. Like, it doesn't always work like that. But this is a learning process. It's an unlearning process. We are unlearning our process of feeling physical hunger, telling ourselves we have to eat right now, feeling angry, overeating, and then having the scale go up. We want to unlearn that. And every time we interrupt that cycle, that process, we get better at learning something new, which is there's that thought. It's okay. I can handle this. I am the version of myself that doesn't want to overeat, even though my brain's freaking out because I feel physical hunger right now. I don't want to choose any of those thoughts. I want to choose calm and confidence. And so I'm going to practice choosing that. And then all of a sudden it's like super easy because you've practiced that so many times. So we are simply going to find a foothold anywhere that we can along the whatever's happening for you now. And how we do that is by the previous 2 steps that I gave you, but also one of my favorite secret weapons, which is deep breaths. Breathing deeply. It slows everything down. And when you count your breaths, it actually takes you out of thinking about, I have to eat right now, and into thinking about those numbers. 1, 2, 3. Like now when I'm counting, I'm not thinking, I have to eat now. So the breathing is very effective, and it also calms down the nervous system. It helps to kind of clear out some of that anxious or irritable or angry or whatever you're feeling. It's super powerful. So we take some deep breaths, we hear those thoughts, we recognize that that process is starting. We start to take some deep breaths to kind of clear that when you're counting our breaths. And then also we want to be present with it. I know that sounds so like vague, but every time those thoughts come up and we try to kind of close the door on them or say like, no, get out of here, it's not okay, or I have to avoid this or distract myself from it, we are increasing the power of it. I always say it's like when you have a dog that always gets fed at 6 o'clock and you haven't fed it yet, and it's just like trying to get your attention. If you acknowledge the dog and pet the dog and calm the dog, like, I'm going to feed you, it's okay. And maybe feed is not the right term here, but either way, the dog wants your attention, you're acknowledging the dog. And we're like, it's okay. It's okay that you're here and that you're kicking up all these thoughts. I'm going to choose something else. We have to be with it. We cannot avoid it or close the door on it. Be present with it. It's okay. And then another thing I encourage my clients to do a lot of times is to really neutrally describe the physical sensation of hunger, because we tend to just, we feel a pang and we're like, this is the worst ever. But by doing that, we are not connecting with what it actually feels like. Because what it actually feels like isn't that bad. It's not like you've been stabbed in the leg or, I don't know, broke your arm. It's not that kind of pain. It's, in relative terms, pretty light and pretty gentle. I like to kind of liken it to someone like knocking on the door. So at first, it's just light brushing, very light. Sometimes it feels like I just took a drink of cold water, and it might only last that long. So start neutrally describing it for yourself. What does physical hunger actually feel like for you? Is it super painful? Or can you describe it in a way that's like, feels like a whisper, feels like there's, a little bit of cold air blowing through my stomach, or I just took a drink of water, cold water, or I can feel, kind of a rumbly tumbly feeling. None of those are painful or extremely uncomfortable. They're just sensations in your body, letting you know, like, hey, if you have time, you could feed us. If not, we'll go to your fat stores and it'll all be okay. Okay, so that's what I've got for you today. Oh, thank you so much for listening. I had something I was going to say. I'm going to save it for next episode. But, anyways, thanks for listening. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.